So the first thing I want to do is show the thumbnailing process and how it's going to affect everything. So the basis of, or why you do a thumbnail, is so you can really hash out a lot of different ideas. It's kind of like brainstorming, but then also understand how your figure or whatever you're making is the composition is correct. So let me go ahead and I'm going to bring up a prompt for myself. This project is the humor illustration project, so I'm going to use the first prompt on that, which is, if you go to bed thirsty, your spirit will wander off and drink from foul mud puddles. So what I might initially want to do, if I need to figure out like a pre-existing prompt, I'll write a little ideas. So I think I'll put, we know that there's like a bed involved, possibly, the idea of thirst. We also think that there's a spirit. And then I guess there's bad mud puddles. So like mud puddles. Also the word is foul. So because it's a humor illustration, I could probably make this into a pun with like actual fowls like geese or chickens or something like that. Got mud, spirit or ghost, thirst. Okay, so if you go to bed thirsty, your spirit will wander off and drink from foul mud puddles. So I prefer to do my thumbnailing work in pen. That's just my own preference. If I can't find a pen, I'll go ahead and I'll use a pencil, of course. But you don't want your thumbnails to be bigger than your thumb, pretty much. You don't want them to be large. You don't want them to take a lot of time. So what you'll do in this project, you'll be making 10 thumbnails. Let me go ahead and make 10 thumbnails out of this prompt. So the first thing is I want to make sure that my thumbnail sizes are, if I'm doing landscape, it'll be landscape. If I'm doing portrait or vertical, I'm doing kind of a vertical. If I'm doing a square format, I'll be doing it in a square, or like even if you had circles, triangles, I don't know, whatever your limitations are. But there's no limitations to this project. I just want you to go ahead and plan for the composition in which you'll be working in. So I think the first thing I'm thinking of is something about a ghost. So I might use a shorthand for ghost. And then if you go to bed thirsty, your spirit will wander off and drink from foul mud puddles. So I think I'm just gonna, maybe I'll make like a idea of a house, and then maybe put like a mud puddle here in the foreground, and then maybe a ghost coming towards this type of mud puddle. Maybe there's one already, at the mud puddle drinking. So that'll be my first thumbnail. Now, if I wanted to do the same type of thing, but I wanted to do it in a like an up and down type of context, I would go ahead, and sometimes it helps create depth when I have like kind of stacking elements. So I think I'm gonna add a tree here, maybe add a cool moon. I think I'm gonna get just a little bit more of a zoom in on this mud puddle. And another idea is maybe they used straws to drink. That might be silly. So here's that. Maybe this one uses his hands. And then when I have my kind of composition here, notice that I'm kind of creating some kind of elements where your eye can kind of go around the form. So I put my trees here to kind of create a framework that leads the eye probably towards this moon, comes back. The other point of interest probably is this window, and then it comes right back down. Now for square format things, it's a little bit harder. This is actually not completely a square, so let me just shave that down. But that is a little limiting sometimes. You would have to really be able to, kind of like how we have the elements here overlapping, stack things a lot more. It might be good for a one-off. So if I wanted to, or this would be an easier thing to do, is have like my ghost drinking from my mud puddle, and then he has like a nightcap on maybe, and like some pajamas, and then maybe there's like another ghost coming this way, and there's like some mud, weeds or some sticks sticking out, and then I'll put the moon right there. Okay, so then that's 3. Let's play around with some different compositions. I prefer kind of like vertical or landscape, kind of choosing each one. Maybe they're at a bar. I like the idea of ghost, as you can tell. Maybe there's like it's like a shake place. He has like a little straw. They're all kind of waiting. This would probably be better in a vertical format, so let me just try that same thing. So, you know, they all don't have to be a different idea. The main thing is you want to be able to get the composition correct and be making ideas at the same time. So I think I have a question that was asked to me once, like, oh, do they all have to be different types of ideas? No, they can be the same thing from different angles or point of view. I'm gonna give him a little hat. Maybe there's like a mixed machine there. Yeah, that might be kind of like I forgot what they're called, like a bar hop kind of thing. Like, you know, when you go to a malt shop or a shake shop, that may be something like this. All right, so then we have, you know, I go back to my main points here. So I have spirit, mud, foul. So I think I haven't played on the foul thing. I really like the idea of it being some kind of a place where maybe there's some ducks or birds. It's like their main mud puddle, and then they're mad because there's like a ghost that keeps trying to drink from their mud puddle. Maybe he's equipped with a straw, he's ready. Now here I have a lot of extra space. I might be able to change my composition really easily, kind of like cropping it and bringing it up, or I can just crop it and keep it this way. So that's really the advantage of doing these thumbnails, is you can really figure out how much you're going to draw the boundaries of it in advance, before you get on like a big piece of paper. Yeah, then you get like some kind of reeds kind of going on. Probably would need to find some reference for it. Put some things like that. And then maybe go up here. Put a house? No? I don't know. I don't know if I like this. A little forest action. Maybe I'm getting too detailed. Especially for this type of prompt. I might want to just keep it like this, so I can just make an idea like that for myself so I can come back to it later. All right, so I like this idea of them arguing, but I don't think I've gotten too much of a grasp on the bed concept. So let's talk about the bed. With the bed concept, I would most likely, because beds are flat, I would want to use more of a flat or landscape kind of mode. So let me go ahead and do something like this. Plan for where the bed might lie. Give a false floor. So here I'm just putting a box in. That's the bed. No big deal. We're not sitting up doing a bunch of perspective. Okay, so there's the bed. Now, if I wanted to fill the room, I can just add like maybe a rug. Maybe I can figure out how to. So it says, if you go to bed thirsty, your spirit will wander off and drink from foul mud puddles. So I think I might kind of get this kind of spirit kind of floating off. And then maybe the person is still in bed. So this would be more of a dotted or speckled line probably. Maybe this person is asleep. There's a nightstand and maybe there's no water in this cup. So I can just say like there's no water. Here you could just even do that, no water. But I feel like there's not a lot of, there's like this type of interest is kind of limiting. So I might extend this frame a little bit. I might cut this out. I might bring this forward. Let's find out. Let's see here. I want him to be able to be floating. I like the idea of maybe he needs to go outside. So let me just go ahead and sketch in. And notice that I'm thinking about my composition always, maybe expanding that. So maybe my frame's out here now. And then put that mud puddle outside so the viewer can kind of put two and two together. That, I see. And especially once they look at it, they'll like be able to see, or they read the prompt, they'll see, oh, okay, that's what's going on. Even though it's already a very strange concept. It's a little absurd. Here we go. So I think I might keep the frame out here. Now, the difficulty that I'm finding here is that I have a lot of empty space here. Well, why do I have a lot of empty space? I have no idea. So let's see if I can fill that empty space. Let's extend the bed out. And then maybe instead of putting this carpet here, the carpet can go here. And then I can bring this a little bit more center because it is important. And like, maybe I have multiple jokes. Maybe I can have, and this is really maybe doing too much, but maybe there's like a cat or something that is asleep and I can have it have almost like two heads. Like one is a sleeping head and the other one is the cat is popping out. And I have a little water dish for the cat as well, and that is also empty. So that's something that I can kind of play around with. This is definitely more of a, I don't know, involved type of piece. Maybe I'm thinking too much. And then also, since there's this kind of blank space on the wall, that can be fine. There's a couple things I can do with that. I can go ahead and use tone to make this work. And then, so it's not all the way busy. I feel like it would be a little busy for me to bring something back up here, but then at the same time, I do want to be able to have my figure go all the way up and down, and then up back to this part. So maybe I can put like a little, like a frame of something, like a picture. Yeah, and that is just enough, I think, to kind of bring the audience's eye up and around this thing. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's keep going for, I think I want to revisit the fowl thing, and maybe this kind of dead alive stuff. So maybe it's like I've never gone camping, but maybe there's like some kind of tent. Maybe the person is asleep in the tent. So this is a different take with camping this time. And then maybe there's a ghost, or the sleeping same person is coming up. Maybe I can take that where it extends across, so you kind of get that they're the same person. Put a tree there. Put a moon. And then maybe I like this idea of like a bird being like, get away from my pond. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, I need one more. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh wait, that's not true. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I need 2 more. Let's go for, I kind of want to, let's see here. Bed, thirst, spirit, mud, foul. We have 2 foul ones. I like this idea, so maybe try again. This is better in a landscape, but maybe I can have it where it's a little stacked. So combination of some of these other ideas. That's another thing that you can do. You can create combinations. So now you have all these ideas out. You have combinations of what your pre-existing ideas were. It makes your brain a little bit less painful, pained. So I can, because when you think about something for a very long time, I mean, it's only eventual that either A, you get tired out, or B, that your idea part kind of clicks in a certain time and then gets stronger. Let me, maybe have another spirit here. It's already sitting. Maybe this is like National Geographic kind of thing where they're all at a watering hole. Yeah, I think that might be fine. Put a little moon there. And see how this is very similar, but I feel like having 3 forms also helps that energy when it comes to getting that viewer's eye around, working around this. Now I do want to revisit this soda hop kind of thing. This one didn't really work out. I feel like this is pretty a good idea. You can see that my ideas are getting a little bit more strong, but I wonder if I can make this more interesting. Same, want to go into a landscape version of this. I would probably want to use some reference look up what a soda bar, malt shop kind of thing it looks like. Let me go ahead and actually do that. Malt shop. Off screen, I am using Google. Alrighty. Getting a lot of kind of diners, Mel diners kind of place. So let me go ahead and actually, I'm gonna cut that out for a second. Can you still see? Perfect. I'm gonna try and draw it at the angle in which I see this Google image photo. So this is that bar area. It already feels more authentic because I am using a reference, very important. And something like that is over there. And then the person will be up here, like this. And then there is like a checkerboard pattern floor and some booths. Okay. I don't need to put like excessive amount of stools here, just enough probably to hold a few ghosts. And then this is a ledge. So I would probably have the ghost, like one is maybe sitting, the other one, maybe they're gabbing about something, they're talking. Want to put their arm out. So they're looking like they're having a good time. Then this, they all have shakes. Maybe there's another shake up here. Maybe there's a mud puddle, maybe that's the name of the restaurant or the joint. And then maybe I want to make it so that there's some kind of level of interest of something coming here. Maybe I can have like a little waving ghost right up in the front. And he's having his moment. I would probably even come back over here. I like this a lot. I like this pretty well. But let me go ahead and I might bring that over a little bit. This waving ghost. And then at that point, I probably don't need to like draw these stool kind of like, I mean, the booths. And notice how sloppy the second one is that I'm doing. I'm just trying to figure out if it actually makes sense to do this. 2, 3. I feel like this is getting really muddied or cluttered. That's why I want to move him over. I think, you know, if this was Photoshop, I'd move it all the way over. I think I would probably, if this was Photoshop, just like cut this whole part out and bring him over. And then I think I might just plan ahead and do that. So I'm just going to do something like this. Another thing that you can do, oh yeah, let me show you this, is use sticky notes or Post-it notes. This is what I learned in some storyboarding classes of mine, where you can just go ahead and, instead of redrawing the whole thing, if you just need to edit something, there you go. That's all I wanted to do, especially because things are getting a little muddy, unclear. There you go. And what I want to do with this is probably extend the frame over. I don't want to cut off his little arms. I want to leave room for this. This other extra space I don't really need. It's not really adding anything. So I can go ahead and cut that off. So this would be the actual finished thumbnail, and it reads a lot more clean. I would probably move that mud puddle sign over here, and we're done. So yeah, let me count my thumbnails. Another thing I like to do, and this is when, especially if you're working with like clients and you want to, in a freelancing situation, you might want to give people options of where you want to go, and then they can okay it. So what I'll do is I'll give them options like 1, or I'll pick some kind of system. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then this is 10. And when I number them like this, it's easier to communicate via email or whatever we're doing, text, where you can say, okay, so which one do you like best? And they can go, oh, I like 5 and I like 8, you know, and you go, oh, okay, great. Why? Or I need you to do a little bit more to 8. On 8, I think that you could probably do X and X, or on 9, I feel like you can do another thing. I like the idea that you have in 3. Could you combine 3 and 9? I like his little outfit. Can you put them on all the people in number 9? Those kind of a thing. So then you can actually get the best, or your finalized thumbnail. So that's really the process of why we do thumbnails, how you can use them for communication, and I'll be back with, we will do some value studies next.